And this team is the third best in the conference in batting average at .341. The pitcher they will see in the circle, no surprise, KB, it's Robin Herron.
And Robin Herron, she's going to throw everything. She's going to throw a drop. She's going to throw a curve. She's going to throw a changeup. She's going to throw a rise ball. She has a good mix of everything, and she is without a doubt Courtney Deifel's ace.
She pitched last weekend, of course, at Texas A&M, but a year ago had just 2 1/3 innings against LSU on the road, gave up 3 hits in their series Sunday afternoon at Texas A&M. Fans are calling the Hogs. We're ready for softball. LSU and Arkansas. LSU has played 4 more games than have the Hogs, but a lot of similarities between these two teams as you look at the numbers. And Danica Coffey, the third baseman, steps in. And even 60 hits on the season. And the first pitch in there for strike 1. Cameron Ellison, our plate umpire this evening. The earlier start always means there's shadows in the outfield, sunshine surrounding home plate. And Herron's next pitch misses outside. Does it make it tough to see early on with that sunshine shadows contrast?
If I remember correctly, the worst sun here was like during the day, like around 1 or 2 o'clock. It just depends. But you can tell by the shade of how it's setting. And especially if you look at home plate, they're shaded until you get to the pitcher's mound. So I'm sure that has to have some effect on seeing the ball a little bit coming off the bat.
Tell you what, though, Coffey is very patient to begin with. She has walked 45 times this year, so she will swing here and lift one to left, and Kramer back into the shadows will make the catch for the first out. One gone for Jayla Lassiter. Lassiter, 52 hits on the season. Transfer out of Ole Miss. She is an Alabama native and takes strike 1. I was mentioning that Herron a year ago at LSU only threw 2 1/3 innings against these Tigers. They didn't see much of her. Linestock, Cammons, and Burline all pitched as Arkansas took the first 2 and then lost the finale 1-0. But I would imagine, as we've seen pretty much most weekends, she's thrown in 2 games, sometimes even 3 over the course of a weekend.
And I think that could work in Robin Herron's favor. I mean, they haven't really seen her hardly at all. I mean, you know, new players in the lineup, and they may not have ever seen her before. I mean, this is a crucial, crucial weekend for both teams on seeding purposes.
Again, conference tournament starts next week in Athens. Last chance to kind of move up, put some more points on your resume, so to speak. Both of these teams extremely good from an RPI standpoint. LSU 5, Arkansas 6. Wins are tough to come by in this league, though, and both hoping to get a series victory. 3-1 to Lassiter. Offered it a high one and fouled it back.
And going off of what you said, what's not to love about the SEC? Any team can win on any given weekend, and, you know, it doesn't matter what your record is, and that's what's so fun about playing or having played in the SEC is it's a dogfight every single game, whether it's game 1 or game 20.
At times it must feel like a grind. I know when you're winning series, it does certainly lift the spirits. And Arkansas coming off an incredible road series victory at A&M against the number 1 or 2 ranked Aggies as Lassiter takes ball 4. And Arkansas, at least in one poll, got as high as number 2. That's the highest ranking in any of the 4 major polls in program history. And I know Courtney Deifel on this Razorback team, they're not focused on it. She said, hey, it's great, but you know that you're just constantly right back in that grind against another good team.
And that speaks volumes to Courtney Deifel's ability to turn a program around. And she's been consistent, very consistent, and it's so impressive what she's been able to do year after coming to Arkansas.
They found the secret sauce how to win on the road. I mean, they've had this incredible stretch, winning 18 of their last 20 road series. Obviously, this is a pretty good home field advantage as well. And the 1-0 to Bajuran, the catcher, misses outside.
And that's an impressive stat, being on the road, winning that many times, because, you know, it's easy to lose focus when you're not at home. You're traveling, you're in somewhere new, you're in a hotel. So kudos to all of the girls for being able to step up, even when they're not used to, playing at their home field, and they're there. They're like, hey, we're here, we're going to come in, and we're going to upset you.
I know for LSU, again, everybody playing this Thursday, Friday, Saturday slate because it gives you one extra day going into the conference tournament. It's not ideal from a turnaround standpoint, but just part of the natural rhythm of a season. Robin, after missing in the first two, paints one on the corner for a strike to Bergeron.
I think that was my least favorite weekends playing, was when you had the Saturday, Sunday, Monday series, and then you get somehow the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you're like, oh my gosh, my body needs a break.
Almost doesn't seem fair, but Tigers ready to go, maybe going on adrenaline. And you think about it, KB, they were run ruled in game one at home against Florida, came back to win games 2 and game 3, really pulled away late on Monday night, so that was a pick-me-up of sorts.
Absolutely. I was very shocked looking at that first game, and, LSU took it as, hey, we're going to come back, and they punched them in the gut two games in a row.
It was not much fun to be run-ruled in the opener of that series. The last time they had been run-ruled, it was against Arkansas in 2019. But the count has gone full to Bergeron. Here's the payoff pitch. That's a little bit high. That's ball 4. And how about a couple of free base runners before Tori Edwards steps to the plate? And already a quick visit of base runners aboard for Tori Edwards of the 18 homers and 68 runs batted in fame.
And Tori Edwards, this is not someone you want to come up in the first inning with the runners on first and second and only one out. She has 18 homers. I know she's searching for that 19th.
That one's a little bit elevated. It's a team that doesn't hit a lot of homers, 40, but again, Edwards has 18 of those. And we talked about her numbers at SEC play. It has been a lot of fun for Tiger fans to watch her progression this season. In fact, in SEC-only games, she has the top batting average, better than Ella McDowell or Bree Ellis or Reagan Johnson or others. Third best on-base percentage, second best slug in conference games only. She works with a unique stance with those hands held very high, almost above her helmet. Fouls one right back to the screen.
And you worry about kids, not necessarily worry about them, but coming from high school, you go into that last summer of travel ball, which there's great competition. You worry, how are they going to do when they get to college? And Tori Edwards, Ella McDowell, they did not skip a beat whatsoever.
High pop-up that'll be back to our right and out of play. Quite honestly, you're talking about two freshmen that we featured in the Open, both batting cleanup in their team's respective lineups.
That is something I would love to just go around and see all the lineups in the SEC.
Well, Robin Herron got Edwards to climb the ladder and chased one up in the zone for strike 3, and that's a big second out.
This pitch by Robin Herron, I think this might be one of her biggest strikeouts of the game. You absolutely do not want Tori Edwards to be up with runners on first and second, and she, puts her down big, strikes her out.
Mackenzie Rudity, the right fielder, next in. LSU trying to strike first in the top of the first inning. Just the climb on that rise ball, though, to Edwards, really impressive. It ended up around her neck, and there's another one that's elevated. It pops in the air, and Kennedy Miller, wearing those sunglasses, popped on the ball before Lassiter would try to advance. I think she's worried about trying to see. She's got the glasses on underneath her mask.
And I think that's a pitch that's a little underrated from Robin Herron. You don't hear that. You always think, okay, curveball off speed, but Robin has a great rise ball, as we just saw against Tori Edwards.
We talked a lot about her changeup this year. I think it's a great compliment with the rise ball and the changeup. See what she does on this 2-1 pitch. Went down in the zone, but that one did sneak away from Kennedy Miller, so that is a free base, and now there's two runners in scoring position. Sometimes it's the free base. This is such a good defensive Arkansas team that you hate to give anybody a pass ball. And that's blocked nicely by Miller, but it's ball 4. So after the Edwards strikeout, Rudity draws the walk, and the bases are loaded on 3 free passes in the top of the first inning.
And I think that's something that I've seen a lot this year, not just Arkansas or LSU, but walks are one of those things that in the first inning you absolutely do not want to walk a batter. And I feel like 9 times out of 10, and I don't want to jinx anything, but a lot of the time those walks end up scoring.
It certainly sets the table for Jaden Leno, the left fielder. Another one of the players batting better than .320 in this starting lineup. Coming off a 3-for-3 game on Monday in that series clincher, including a couple of RBIs. Robin's fighting that pitch down in the zone a little bit, isn't she? I'm not sure if that's the true changeup or just a bit of a drop pitch.
And I think where Robin normally misses, she ends up missing some on the dirt a little bit. So that's, something as a catcher. Kennedy's probably very used to that. But sometimes, like we saw, the ball will get away from you. Right now, 2-0 count, 2 out. So this is a pretty big moment, and we're only in the first inning. I feel like we should be in, the third right now.
I do, too. As a hitter, can you eliminate that down pitch or that changeup until she throws it for a strike?
I would say so. I mean, if she's having a hard time throwing really any pitch, drop ball, changeup, that's not something that, I'm going to go up there being worried about, essentially. Now, I mean, there's been plenty of times that I've had at bats where I know the changeup is going to be a pitcher's go-to pitch, but I never was one to sit changeup. I hated it, so I try to avoid it at all costs.
Well, Heron battled back for the going in their bullpen. I think any time you throw a starter out there in game 1 of a series, you have designs on them going deep in the game. Right now, 31 pitches in. Hawks trying to get Heron through the top of the first. Painted on the corner, and the count's gone full. Now the runners will be able to take off just a bit early.
And I feel like that might have been a strike. It's the first inning. They're still working to establish a zone. We're seeing this from an angle, so it might have not clipped the corner, but it looks like it.
Payoff pitch fouled back, and we'll do it again. Regardless of how this inning ends, Heron has invested a lot as far as the pitch count.
I mean, 33 pitches in the first inning. I would say she might need to cut it down to maybe 10 an inning from 10 to 12 from here on out. But, I mean, hey, props to her. She's gotten this count full. She's got 2 outs, so let's see what she does right here.
Crowd rambunctious on the payoff pitch. Ground ball, tight wire, and get to the other side without falling. Arkansas coming into bat.
Things for LSU, and she's going to throw a drop ball about 60% of the time. So I think that's something that any team is going to do their homework on and be able to look for the ball down, learn how to move up in the box or move back in the box to avoid the drop ball or to either hit the drop ball.
Take a look at the lineup for Arkansas. Reagan Heavy at the top, Johnson and Kramer, then Bree Ellis. Ella McDowell has been batting cleanup over the last few weeks. Wyckoff Day, Rio, Davison, and Miller. This has been the starting 9 for a bulk of the campaign. Well, Reagan Johnson is on a tear. 26 for her last 59. Had back-to-back seasons with 70 or more hits. You can see a path for her to get to that number again. And Berzon runs one in at the knees for strike 1.
And you don't see LSU playing Reagan Johnson with 3 fielders over on the left side. And we've seen that a lot this season where she's going to have 3 fielders over on the left side.
It's been fun to watch her in the last several weeks. In fact, she had 6 hits, couple of walks at A&M. She's up to 211 career hits with 1 more year to go.
And Reagan, she started out a little bit slow, but as we've talked about before, when you start conference play, the competition's going to get better. It's going to get better and better. And Reagan's another one of those players that she's really settled in, and her batting average has gone up. It's not gone up too much, but she's done a lot better in SEC play, and you can tell by when she's in the box, she's able to place the ball a little bit more. She's been bunting a little bit more. Her strikeouts have kind of lowered a little bit. So I think, kudos to her for turning her average around.
Sometimes I think the soft contact has been more of her friend than the harder contact, just deadening the ball in front of the plate, although she will take ball 4. So the walks have been in vogue early in this game. And maybe no surprise, these are two of the best on-base percentage teams, two of the best base-on-balls teams in the league. I think they both collectively understand the strike zone. Heron fought her command a bit, but now Berzon walks Reagan Johnson to get to Reagan Kramer. Kramer, one of the seniors, winding down her career, and Courtney Deifel said she's instrumental to the growth of the program. And she takes a high strike, and one of the most quiet, productive players in program history. Speaking of on-base percentage, those two are right there at the top.
Absolutely, and I was able to play with Reagan for 1 year, and she's just a kid that she brought it every single day. She was willing to go play second base, to go take balls at shortstop, outfield, wherever you wanted to put her. She's just a kid that you want on any team, and just so easy to coach. And Courtney Deifel has said that so many times. She's just someone you want in your lineup.
It must be so irritating to have her bat ahead of one of the most feared hitters, maybe the most feared hitter in college softball in Bree Ellis, because Berzon is conscious of the fact that it's Ellis and McDowell to follow. The last thing she wants to do is issue back-to-back free passes, and she does catch that outside corner.
And I can't imagine being a pitcher, because Bree Ellis, she's lingering in your mind.
Yes, she is.
The whole time. I mean, she's hitting 500 basically, so it's like, okay, we have a 50%.
Strike 3, the pitch was out of the zone, so it's rare for Kramer not to get that ball 4, but what a huge sequence for Berzon and LSU with Bree Ellis coming to the plate. I thought it was a swing.
Oh, I would say so.
And Bree Ellis takes ball 1. We hate to miss any of her pitches. Bree leading the nation in home runs with 24. She's one ahead of Megan Grant, who has 23. Needs 1 for the program record. She needs 2 to equal the SEC single season record.
I mean, Bree Ellis, everybody knows who she is. She's incredible. On-base percentage, walks, batting average, OPS, RBIs. There's not one stat that you don't look at and go, wow, this is very, very, very impressive.
To your point, KB, only 5 players in NCAA history since the early 80s have finished a season batting above .480 while hitting 20-plus home runs, and that very much is a possibility. The home run number's already there. The question is, will teams pitch to her? What will they give her to hit? She's going to hammer a lot of foul balls, and we've seen this time and time again, whether teams have pitched to her, pitched around her. They have to be ready for a long AB, and there's her ranks. Slugging percentage, homers, batting average, on-base percentage.
And Bree Ellis, she's not only just a good swinging the bat hitter. She's very patient in the box. Now, I will say, I've seen her hit a couple of home runs like a foot off the plate, and
Berzon came in with an earned run average of 2.29. Arkansas has put 4 runs on the board. And if you're Berzon, KB, I know this has not been a lot of fun, but you've got to find a way to kind of settle in and start picking up some outs.
And I think one thing that's important when you're in SEC play is you have 3 games against a team, right? So while, yes, you are down 4 runs in the first inning, it's still a long game. I mean, we've seen teams score 8 runs in 1 inning, 6 runs in 1 inning, and the game's not over by any means.
It is not. Here's Courtney Day. Pearland product. Fouled right off the foot of Courtney Day. Day in the top 10 of the conference in homer. She's hit 14. She and Ellis have combined for some big-time runs batted in numbers.
And Courtney Day, she's hitting .327, but one thing about Courtney, like you said, she has 14 home runs, so she's probably not another one that you want to just throw the ball to right down the middle.
Reaches for that and fouls it away. Day and Ellis have combined for 124 runs batted in this season. And it's a pretty stark difference, though, in earned run average, KB, between Baton Rouge and on the road for Sydney.
Yes, and that is something that is incredible just to see. I mean, her ERA, it more than doubles. I mean, that's something that you look at, I feel like, as a coach, and you're like, well, I mean, should we give her the start or should we let her come in? Because you can tell with that, I mean, 4 runs a game, that's a lot to make up for, especially in SEC play. Even though the Razorbacks have been able to put up 4 runs in the first inning, that's still a lot to come back for, especially, you know, some games you're going to have rubber mat this inning with a walk. She comes out 5-6 hole, on base again.
Well, Reagan Kramer doesn't want to make 2 outs in an inning. I can tell you that right now.
No, absolutely. And not only that, to be the first and the last out of the inning, I don't know how I would feel about that one.
It's a happy dugout. It would not be a lot of fun for Reagan. And, hey, this is senior weekend. We can't be having any of this.
And one thing I loved about Reagan Kramer, we called her Jimmy, I mean, she brought the same attitude every single day. You'd never know if she was down. You would never know if anything was ever wrong. She's just a great teammate, just a great competitor, and most importantly, she's a pretty dang good player.
Courtney Deifel said she always put the program first, not flashy, but just so consistent in her efforts. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that's how I would describe Reagan. Absolutely a workhorse. And like we said before, she would take balls on the infield, go to the outfield. I think I even saw her in catcher's gear one time. I'm not sure why. But she is willing to do anything that would put the team first.
Hodge will retire Kramer at first to end the first inning. 7-0 Razorbacks this evening, and Avery Hodge is going to lead off. Avery Hodge is from Richmond, Texas. It is the same suburb of Houston that Ella McDowell is from. Different high schools, but part of my area out there in Sugar Land, and I tell you what, it's one H-Town player after another in this series.
I'm telling you, a lot of great softball players come from the state of Texas, and I don't know what they're doing in Texas, but they are doing it right.
Arkansas's roster is loaded with H-Town products. Even Taylor Pleasant's coaching at first base for LSU, a former Tiger star from the greater Houston area. She was taller than most shortstops.
She reminded me a lot of Spencer Prigge.
She sure did.
They looked alike, too. It was kind of crazy. And Spencer, you know, same height, both tall. When you think shortstop, I don't think you think somebody that's, you know, because you have to move side to side a lot. And it's like, how can y'all get to the ground fast enough?
Well, Hodge walks, and for all the excitement in Arkansas's offense, Robin Heron was kind of leaking a little bit of oil and running out of gas in that first. She walked 3. She got the big ground out to strand all 3, but she walks Hodge, and this is Maddox McKee, the DP. So her pitch count trending towards 40, and she's still looking for an out here in the second. And by the way, Montgomery, Texas, up in your neck of the woods.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, of course, another Texas player
They're
on
everywhere.
the team.
Good pitch from Heron for a strike.
And you got to think Robin Heron coming into this inning, chest out a little bit more confidence, hoping to get, you know, reel it back in. She's got a lot of wiggle room, so I'm sure that's something we're going to see throughout each inning is her straightening it up.
You know, it's a good point, and that's a wave and a miss. I know people are in the stands saying, you've got a 7-run lead, throw it over the plate, but you understand how bad pitches in the zone get hit often. I think we saw that in the bottom of the first. with some belt-high pitches that ended up on the other side of the fence, and Herron still trying to not get too far away from what makes her successful while at the same time knowing she's got a little bit of wiggle room.
Absolutely. And I mean, walks are going to happen. Bad pitches, that's going to happen. But we saw how quickly you can go up and come up 3 more runs, and then it's 7-0 before they can even look up.
And McKee will take strike 3. So Robin Herron with her second strikeout. Running one on that outside corner about belt high. Second baseman Sierra Daniel next up. Arizona native is Daniel. Just a run or two for the Tigers might going to feel like they're getting back into this contest with a lot of time remaining.
And that's something that's very important. I mean, of course you want to go score 7 runs in 1 inning, but it's just about chipping away every single inning. If you can put up 1 or 2 runs an inning, you're going to be good by the time the game's over.
Daniel had 4 hits in the 3 games against Florida. As LSU came back to win that series. It was an important series for the Tigers because they were in danger of losing their 3rd straight weekend series. They started 8-3 in the SEC. They went 1-7 before their last couple of W's, and that's ball 4 again. So that is walk number 5 for Robin Herron.
And I feel like this year's been somewhat different in the SEC. You have a handful of teams at the top that could pretty much win the entire thing, but at the same time, you don't ever want to take a game off either. So I feel like everyone's beating everybody this year, and it's not been as consistent in my opinion. So for a game like this, like we said earlier, for Arkansas and LSU, this is a very important series, especially when it comes to postseason hosting.
Here is Coffey, the leadoff hitter, who flew out to Kramer in left. You know, and to your point, KB, I completely agree. Because you think about how important it is to be
as big as you can get, you know, besides the World Series, of course, but you never know. When you're at home, you have your own fans, you know, you have the ability to sleep in your own bed, and that's something I never took for granted when I played. I love to be at home, to be in my own apartment, and to be in my own bed.
And that's what these teams are playing for. 2-0 the count to Coffey. Fifth-year player is Coffey as she takes a strike from Herron as activity continues to roll in Arkansas's bullpen. All Coffey did to start this year, she came in with a 39-game reach base streak going back to last year and a 25-game hitting streak. Chasing the all-time single season, Ellis, she went sprinting in front of the circle to take that one-hop throw from Johnson. Hodge held at third, no reason to make an out at the plate. But LSU has the bases loaded, and I'm really curious to see how much longer Courtney Deifel.
I don't think that would be a bad idea as we see Courtney Deifel.
Well, I talked that into existence.
She's walking out, and, you know, Danica Coffey, she comes through, absolutely blisters that ball up the middle. And as we both said, it's just about chipping away each inning, and that's what's important about cutting. And, you know, Reese Berline a couple of weekends ago, that is the best that I have seen her throw, and I think that's something Courtney Deifel has been wanting to see from her. She knows she has it in the arsenal, but it's more so of getting her to do it.
Kind of a big moment for her. Now, she pitched 3 2/3 innings at Texas A&M, giving up a run, 3 walks, no strikeouts. Even in her perfect game, she had just 2 strikeouts. And again, 42 pitches, which was pretty incredible. Would like to start accumulating some outs, but this is Lassiter who takes strike 1. Lassiter, after she went into the portal, not only considered Arkansas, she came here on a visit. How do I know that? I was part of the visit. She wants to be on ESPN someday, and I visited with Jayla. But now she's in Fayetteville trying to do some damage and put her team on the board. And that one a little bit up and out. .31 runs batted in for Lassiter. So maybe I'm not a very good recruiter, KB. That's a possibility.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. And you know, Coach Tarina right here, she's going to want Jayla to at least, I mean, hey, something in the grass might score 2 right here. You never know, but at least score 1. Just do.
Umpire's in motion, so we'll see it here.
Oh, that's hard. I can't tell.
It's hard to tell. It was not a graceful dive at second. She was trying to go around Davison. So the first 2 Tigers who walked this inning have since scored. And if this call stands, there would be 2 more runners in scoring position for Tori Edwards. So LSU indeed chipping away, and now we'll wait to see the result of this review and this replay. If she got her, she would have tagged maybe that elbow or that hip.
Oh, I can't. It's her leg. I can't really tell that leg
After
in the
review,
way.
The ruling on the field is upheld. The runner is safe.
Upheld.
As Arkansas's first challenge of the game.
I don't know if there was enough to overturn that because as she slid in, her leg kind of covered to where her hand went to the bag.
I was waiting for the Hawkeye. The Hawkeye is rarely defeated, but LSU will gladly take it. Now, if you're Arkansas, do you pitch to Tori Edwards? Quite frankly, I might not. And looking where Kennedy Miller sets up, I am lockstep with Coach Deifel right now.
I feel like we're speaking things into existence because I was about to say I would just go ahead and put her on.
I'm not going to give her a shot if I'm Arkansas of making this a 7-5 game in a blink of an eye.
Absolutely not. And it's one of those things you don't want the other team's best hitter to beat you.
18 homers, 68 knocked in. She struck out against Herron in the first, but facing Berline here in the second. So both teams have gone to their bullpen, and we're not into the bottom of the second yet. And that's ball 4, so the bases will be loaded for Mackenzie Rudity. That is now 6 walks issued by Arkansas pitchers.
I think this might be the longest game that we've done together. It might end up being the
I
longest.
think you're right. Good thing you're here all weekend.
I know. Thankfully.
Berline rolls in strike 1. If I'm not mistaken, Mom's watching the game in the suite on her phone.
She is.
She's observing you.
She has her phone up to her ear, and she's going to hear us talking about her here in a second.
Her ears will be burning. Real good pitch for a strike. I wonder what these parents do when their kids are done playing, and I'm going to go through this soon enough. And there's a withdrawal sequence.
Oh, absolutely.
So even when your kid's still connected to a game but not playing, it's hard to pass it up.
Absolutely.
0-2 is down and
You
out.
know, one thing about my mom, it's crazy because I have played in some very, very loud stadiums, but no matter what, I can always hear my mom yelling at me. And I'm like, Mom, you never played softball. You've got to stop doing that. Oh, there she is. She's like freaking out.
Just a little bit outside.
Even in high school, I'd get lessons on the way home.
Is
like,
that right?
Why don't you swing at this pitch? And I would say, stop. You never played softball.
This becomes a big pitch from Berline to Rudity. Bases full of Tigers. Tap foul. Boy, just a base hit, though, for LSU would be a big sigh of relief in this process of climbing back into this game. They've already seen Herron exit. Had a sac fly this inning. Ground ball hit sharply to Davison. She will make the play. And LSU has stranded 6 runners in 2 innings. But they do get a pair of runs to climb back into the game.
Far they go into postseason, but I mean, with next week, and they're going to make a regional, of course, she has plenty of games left to do it.
Think about this. Braxton, 25 of her 56 hits were home runs. With Bree now, 24 of her 55 hits have been home runs. You can't get much more even than that between the two.
And I think what's most impressive, you know, not their stats being almost identical, that pretty much half of their hits are home runs.
It's amazing, and that's a great way to put it into perspective. Tell you more about Braxton with the count 2-0. See if Ellis gets something to hit, and that one's outside. Braxton had 2 homers in her first game of the year. Her next 7 she didn't homer. And then she ran off 13 homers in 14 games. That is a stretch where few, even Bri Ellis, have been able to equal.
I would say she probably was feeling good after that.
I bet she was.
I mean, you wake up, okay, I'm going to hit another home run this day for 14 games straight. That's insane.
I think Bri and maybe Lenny Malkin hit the ball as far as anybody I've seen in an Arkansas uniform. I thought Braxton hit the ball harder than anybody I have seen with her exit velo.
Absolutely. Braxton, oh my gosh, the ball, and it came off her bat. She had a lot of line drive home runs, but I remember we were playing at home, and Lenny, she hit one over the second fence, and it was probably not even the first line of cars. It might have been the second or third, and I just was in awe. I mean, and you see them at practice every day. They do it every day at practice. So, I've been waiting on that,
In fact, as we see a shot of the parking lot, McDowell bats, my favorite is one that hit just fair inside the pole into the parking lot, and it continued to roll in that driveway towards the street, towards Bud Walton Arena. It may have finished like 450, rolled right down that alleyway, about 450 feet by the time it got done turning and rolling. McDowell drives one to left center. Leno will get back and make the catch. So Ella didn't quite square that one up, but the Tigers will take the out. They didn't want to see another multi-run homer. And she's talking about the spin right there with Wyckoff. You could see with that wrist, she was talking about something, gesturing to Wyckoff, who had one of the home runs as well in the first.
And, once again, we talk about the maturity of Ella McDowell. That's just her sharing some knowledge. One thing I love about Ella, you can tell she loves this game. She studies the game. She knows everything about every team she's going to play.
A lot of similarities between her and Bri Ellis, whether it's big personalities, whether it's the ability, whether it's just enjoying talking, hitting, and the work that goes in. Bri was walked to begin this frame, and Wyckoff takes one on the corner for strike two. This was an Arkansas team, though, KB, that back on Sunday was shut out for just the second time all season. And they had runners on base a ton. In fact, they went 1 for 17 with runners on base, 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They take a few days off and then put 7 on the board in the bottom of the first.
And I think that goes to say, Coach Gasso, he has absolutely helped turn this offense around. That's kudos to him. Only being shut out twice in a season. Hey, yeah, of course, you got to put up 1 run a game, and that gets you out of that record. But I think from last year to this year, the team was, as a team, they were hitting maybe 288 last year, and this year they're well into the 300. So that speaks volume about him. He gets the players to trust them. Same thing, you look at Bri Ellis, her numbers from last year to this year. Absolutely has turned it around. So, props to him for being able to do that in just 1 year.
Year two's been a good one. In fact, Ethan Westerman in the newspaper did a nice article today talking about the improvement, and there you see it on your screen. The batting average, that's a dramatic jump. So is the OPS.
And as a team, that's a big jump.
I think sometimes when we talk about hitting coaches, and this one blooped out to left, but Leno will make the catch to retire Wyckoff for out number 2. Sometimes, KB, we think about, well, they're making this mechanical change or this adjustment, and yes, that's part of it. But oftentimes it's about a game plan, it's about talking about the pitchers, it's about understanding kind of a team approach.
Absolutely, and I think that's, when you get to this level, it's not necessarily about changing your swing completely. And, when I was here at Arkansas, I was coached by Yolanda McCray, and, when I got here, I told her, I said, hey, I want to learn how to use my legs. No one has ever really taught me how to use my legs and my swing, and it just clicked. One day we were working, just us two, and bam, it clicked. So he wants to learn.
Doubt.
And, hey, the numbers show it, too.
Leno was busy that
About the top of the first inning with Courtney Deifel. The way she's been able to come in to Fayetteville and turn this program around. And, when I was at Alabama, Arkansas really wasn't a team like we were too, freaking out about. But now it's completely different. Even back, the year before I came to Arkansas, they won the SEC. We were able to win the SEC, and I just can't speak enough about her. She is who she says she is. She is who she is on camera. That's just who she is every single second of her life. So, of course, who wouldn't want to play for Courtney Deifel?
And Arkansas has been on quite a run as well in wins and keep racking up the W's. And there's so many different rankings now that even though Arkansas received a 2 ranking, Courtney Deifel said, listen, there's so many, you can't get too worked up about it, but it is a nice feather in the cap of this program because, listen, they want to get to Oklahoma City. We talked about LSU. They've been there 4 times under Coach Torina. Those don't get taken away from you. No. I know you're still dealing with not getting there as a player. I'm still dealing with it because I just felt like that last team, the only team you were part of here, was maybe the best team Arkansas has ever put forth.
I would say so. That was the best lineup I've ever been a part of in my entire life. It was so fun to watch, even on base, in the dugout. And, yeah, that just goes to show you how quickly the game can change or how quickly, you can get off of that hot streak. I mean, we won by a pretty good margin the first game, and it's just about staying focused. I feel like that was absolutely the team that was going to make it pretty far, and something I'll never forget because of how great we all were together, not just one person. And this team is a lot like that team. They have the power, they have the speed, they have the home runs, they have the pitching, but like we talk about, you don't want to peak too soon.
That's
and
it.
That's
You're
something
right.
that I feel like Arkansas has done a great job of. They started off a little bit rocky. They were like 1-5 in their SEC series, and as you've seen, they've slowly gotten better each game.
This is Hodge. She walked in the second. Leno walked to begin this inning. 7 walks for LSU hitters as Hodge takes a strike. There was an article in the Houston papers a couple of weeks ago when their basketball team lost the national championship game. They've never won a national championship game. They've been there a few times. And it was an opening line that I think, and the Tigers, who have stranded 6 in 2 innings, have 2 more on base. But the line was, heartbreak doesn't know the statute of limitations. In other words, there is none on heartbreak. You don't get over years that come up just a little bit short, whether it's getting to Oklahoma City or winning a championship. Programs move forward. Teams oftentimes do not, as McKee bats. But I know this group would love to be the first to get to Oklahoma City.
Absolutely, and that's, you get over the initial feeling of the punch of, being disappointed, but, like we talked about before the broadcast started, that's something I will never forget just because we were that good. And, that it's a long season, so it's really, it's hard to even, I try to pick every year, like, who I think is going to make it, and you never end up guessing 100% right. I wish I was, on the team that was able to take Courtney Deifel to her first World Series. I told her on my visit here, like, I would love to be able to do that because Danielle Gibson and I were the, 2 of the ones that had already been to the World Series and had experience. But I would love nothing more than to see this coaching staff and Courtney Deifel, Matt Michael, finally get to the World Series because she is well deserving of it.
Chasing what LSU has done before. McKee becomes another key batter. She went down on strikes in the second. Berline is walked a batter, hit a batter, and delivers a strike. The one thing about losing in the SEC, you don't fall much because of these teams' RPIs and conference tournament next week. But a few more wins for both of these teams just bolsters that resume just a little bit more as McKee will take strike 2. And it also kind of keeps you in that mode of trying to find that peaking portion of your season.
Yeah, and, like we talked about, one of these teams might get that top 8 host, and, Arkansas, they absolutely, that's what's important, is about at least saying, hey, so what, we're down 8-2. It's right here. I mean, one swing could put 4 more runs on the board for them.
Arkansas on their 3rd pitcher of this game, and they've scored 8 runs. So it's been a strange beginning to the
thinking here, you get the first game out of the way, get that win under your belt, and then in your mind it's like, oh, hey, we have to win one more game and we're going to win the series. And then obviously it can set you up for a sweep. But getting that first game of the weekend can really set the momentum for how the whole weekend's going to go.
There's no doubt. Swing and a miss for strike 2. I think for Burnham's just trying to accumulate some outs.
We talk about Ella McDowell, her hitting, but she plays a great third base. I mean, she goes a long way to get that ball, and there's been plenty of plays that Ella have made, and she's made, and I'm like, how how does she get that? She has a great arm. She's not just a great hitter. She can play third base, and very well.
She can. Obviously, a shortstop before she got here as Bergeron takes one down. And I remember talking to Courtney Deifel in the fall and then the spring, and I said, third or short? And she would say, we don't know yet. And I'd be like, third or short? And, there was some competition, but obviously Rio is a tremendous shortstop and an arm as well. That one cued. This one might spin back, but Ellis will pick it up and touch it foul. As Bergeron went down the line. See if that ball got sliced in two, and our plate umpire seems satisfied. But regardless, I think her intensity and her personality, much like Hannah Gamble, suited for third base.
Oh, absolutely. And you can, you're able to tell that looking at Ella McDowell. She's fired up every strikeout, every out, and she just brings a very mature presence, even to be a freshman. And that's one thing I really love about her.
I would agree. I think it takes a unique personality to be ready to stand so close to the plate and be that hockey goalie and knock balls down and try and secure some outs.
Oh, yeah, I would not choose to do that, ever.
Down and out, 2-2. Tigers have more runs than hits. Arkansas has more runs than hits. It has been that type of game.
It's been a little bit of a weird game.
Ella tried to turn her glove maybe the wrong way. Instead of backhanding that ball, she tried to field it with her wrist up and could not make the play. Probably a hit for Bergeron, but don't look now. Tori Edwards comes to the plate representing the tying run.
I think I jinxed Ella McDowell right there, talking about how good she was over at third base. She'll notice she just kind of gets stuck in the in-between right there, deciding what she wanted to do with that one.
Backhand that one, but it's hit so hard, and that will be a base hit. So Macy has been on base all 3 times. And Edwards was intentionally walked last time up.
And I'm not really sure what I would do here. I'm glad I don't have to ever make these decisions, because it's like, do you gamble and put her on, or do you try to go for the strikeout again?
This next pitch might tell us something.
Looks like they're going for it.
It was a strike, but it was on that outside edge, knee high. Burnham certainly doesn't want to miss her spot. Edwards with 18 homers, 68 knocked in. There's the old-fashioned wristbands. Hard hit. Davison spears another one to end the inning. The good news for the Tigers is they get 3 more runs, but they have stranded 8 in 3 innings against Oklahoma and Texas A&M.
I know, and that's what's crazy is, they're getting wins. And we've talked about it earlier in the game. Like, you never know who's going to beat who, and I think that goes to show, like, I feel like the loss count this year in SEC play is much higher than it has been in years before.
Yes.
Like, of course, you have your top 2-3 teams that have lost 5 to 6 games, but now you have a lot of teams losing 10 to 12 games.
Kennedy Miller pokes one out to left after a 3-run homer. She has a single, so a 2-for-2 game, and she leads off the bottom of the third, and more base runners in our contest. I'm with you. I think it's harder to run away and hide. If you're a little bit off one weekend and another team you play is not, you're probably going to lose that series.
Absolutely, and that's what's great about, the SEC, like you said earlier. Even if you lose a game, lose the series, you're not going to drop much, but that goes to show how great the competition is in the SEC this year.
And I don't think it's going to change in future years.
No, not with the addition of Oklahoma and Texas.
Reagan Johnson has walked and scored and singled. She's up to 212 career hits, so she's got her first 200. Now she's on her way to another. And it's a realistic possibility with the numbers she's put up after this year and next. She could be a 300 hitter.
And that goes to say a lot about Reagan Johnson. She gets a lot of at-bats. She'll walk here and there, but getting to that number, even at 60 hits in a season, that's great. And I think she had 70 one season, but that's just a consistent hitter at the top of the lineup and one that has speed like her. Hey, she automatic double and then a hit in the gap, she's scoring. That's just a hitter you want in your leadoff spot.
When you first got to Alabama, were you a slapper?
I did a little bit of both. I hit a lot in high school, but I slapped a lot my first year, and I kind of led into me hitting a little bit more, but I would go back to slapping if I wasn't confident. So if I couldn't get the feeling of standing and swinging away, I would go back to slapping because it's almost like you're just playing pepper with your hands.
Trying to get on base and create some havoc. We've had nothing but hitters getting on base.
I know. Oh, my gosh.
Baseball will finish before softball will tonight. 2-2 the count to Johnson. Comebacker. Good play to get the lead runner, Kennedy Miller, at second base. I wasn't sure if Vallejo was going to go ahead with that throw or not, but it proved to be the right decision.
I think I would have liked to see a bunt right there. Maybe Reagan, she lays down some of the most beautiful bunts I've ever seen. You can see with her slap and how she kind of pulled back on it a little bit. She was trying to soft slap there. She almost had it at the right spot, but I think a bunt from her would have been perfect.
You know who wants to participate in the fun is Reagan Kramer. She made 2 outs in a 7-run first inning, and now batting for the 3rd time in the game, but the first time since the first. Listen, on senior day, everything is supposed to fall into place, right? It's supposed to be Hollywood script-like. 2 outs in the inning is not script-like.
No, and I would love to know how many players have been the 2 outs in 1 inning. I would love to know that stat.
It feels like in Arkansas baseball this year, I've talked about it on 2 or 3 occasions,
Really?
which feels like it's way high.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, and
But they're batting around, though, so.
but it's such a happy dugout because everybody's participating except one person.
player.
Vallejo trying to settle this down, though, and give LSU a chance, and that one is rolled foul outside of first.
But like we've talked about, Reagan Kramer, she's an amazing teammate. So I don't think you could pick one player better than her to be able to handle that. So it'd be great to see her, like you said, get a hit right here just because, oh, man, I don't know what I would do if I got out twice in 1 inning.
But if she gets a single or gets a walk, LSU's going to have to pitch to Bree Ellis with a couple of runners on base.
And that makes me think they are absolutely trying to get Reagan Kramer right here. I mean, you'd rather pitch to Bree Ellis with 1 runner on versus 2 any day.
Agreed. We've had 5 pitchers in this game, and I don't think we're done. 2-2 to Kramer, and now indeed the count has gone full.
It feels like we should be approaching the 6th or
I should be getting ready to
7.
drive to Baum Walker right now. And that's not the case. '40th walk of the season for Reagan Kramer. And now LSU does not feel like they're going to enjoy this scenario. I mean, you could walk Bree Ellis if you don't want to pitch to her, but it's hard to do when there's runners at first and second. This was her first inning swing into this game. Peyton Burnham, who got the final 3 outs last frame, gets a clean inning, or at least her own inning. Ruta D, the right fielder, will lead off. It's an 8-5 game. Arkansas led 7-0 after 1. But the Tigers, they've had chances. They've left 7 in the first 3 innings. They put a lot of pressure on this Arkansas staff that has not been able to figure out how to have anything close to a clean inning.
And I think that's probably what Coach Courtney Difel would love to see right here out of Burnham is just give us 1 clean inning, 1 where it's like, oh, wow, okay, we'll get the game moving a little bit too.
Start stacking a little bit. When it's 7-0 in the first, you start thinking about a run rule. And now the Tigers, even last inning, they had the tying run at the plate.
And I think that goes, great job to the girls on the team. Like, they didn't give up. They were able to chip away like we talked about each inning. And, you see the Razorbacks only put up 1 run in the second inning, didn't put up any runs last inning. And LSU, they've been consistently putting up runs each inning since the second inning.
That is the 8th walk and 9th free base runner Arkansas pitchers have offered.
If you were to tell me it was going to be 8 walks in the 4th inning only, I would be like, no, there's no way.
Now, both of these teams are tremendous on-base clubs in the top 10 in the country. And obviously these hitters know the strike zone. To me, it feels like, though, the pitchers for both teams have just not been sharp.
No, they absolutely have not been sharp. I mean, Robin Heron, definitely not as sharp as she normally is, and I think that I see her over there in the bullpen warming up, so, maybe coming back into the game, maybe she wasn't warm when she started.
I think it's a distinct possibility as Leno sees the count go to 2-0. The thought was when she left, maybe it's not her day. You've got a 7-0 lead. She can come back in tomorrow or whenever she is needed. But now the thought is, hey, find it in the bullpen. We may need you now to finish this game. Because Burnham in danger of walking the first 2 batters in the 4th inning.
And that's something we've seen on both sides, a lot of walks. And, like we've talked about, especially a leadoff walk, those can be detrimental to scoring runs. And, kudos to LSU. They're being patient. Same thing with the Razorbacks. They're taking those walks. They're being patient. And in my opinion,
last thing you want to do after getting out of that 3rd when you inherited some runners is to put the first 2 on and start this merry-go-round all over again.
That is definitely not what I think Coach Courtney Deifel wanted out of her. But, once again, we talk about she is just a freshman. We've seen a bunch of great moments from her that do not make you think she is a freshman. But it seems like every pitcher we've seen tonight is having a hard time finding the strike zone.
I was expecting Courtney Deifel to come get her, but not the case with Heron. It looks like she's done throwing for now. And this is Hodge, who was hit by a pitch and walked. So she has epitomized this night. Twice she's reached with a free pass of sorts and scored both times. There's some grumblings downstairs for the fans that are almost 2 hours into this game.
And I've seen it on both sides of the ball, too. I mean, I'm trying to figure out where the strike zone is myself. If it's just down the middle, it doesn't look like he's giving either team really pitches low, high, side to side. I mean,
feels like there's a lot of nibbling as well, and that's a strike, and it's 2-1. The bottom of the lineup has done an amazing job for LSU getting on base for the top. And Hodge will call time. Hodge, a couple of national championships under her belt at Oklahoma. More playing time this year. There's the bunt. McDowell will pounce on it. Davison covering. Sacrifice works. Arkansas gets the out. LSU advances a pair into scoring position.
And I think that's one of the things that's super important about a lineup is how well can the bottom of your lineup turn it over to the leadoff hitter.
This is McKee. It's a good pitch for a strike on the outside corner. I think they have something going on at Fayetteville High School. Maybe the seniors were posing for a picture. They've been assembling for, it feels like, half the night, and we're only in the top of the 4th inning.
I know. I keep looking at the inning, and I'm like, what is going on?
There's the activity. They're having a good old-fashioned party up there. I think they were posing for maybe a class picture. See, that's not really a competitive pitch at 1-1.
I don't know if she's just losing it off of the side of her hip. I mean, I don't like to make excuses for her, but it could, I don't know, it's something in the air tonight. It's just like none of the pitching has been sharp.
Collectively, again off the corner, 3-1.
It's like they're all just missing by just a hair. It's not a lot. I mean, you've seen some bad pitches, but some of these pitches are, might clip the plate at some point, might not, but they're not missing by too much.
McKee has 1 home run, and Daniel on deck has 2. And there are a couple of smash sisters in the middle of this lineup, but I'll be curious to see if Arkansas will challenge these next couple. Regardless, the count has gone full. Obviously, you don't want to leave anything too good against a pretty good hitting team, but that one's fouled back. Maddox singled and scored just last inning. Yeah.
I'm expecting her to get up and maybe come out just to talk to her, to discuss, what they're going to do. Because, I mean, you're getting close to the top of the lineup here with Danica Coffey and then, of course, Jayla Lassiter and Tori Edwards and all of these big hitters in LSU's lineup that could potentially be coming up. This is definitely an out they want to go ahead and get right now.
10 walks to 2 strikeouts. Daniel singled in a run back in the third. Grounds one.
My breath a little bit right there, but Davison was able to quickly get her feet around and get her body in the position to fire home. That's a great play. Right.
A double play because that ball was hit so hard, and she's made 3 nice plays on balls that have really been blistered in her direction. And back to the top of the lineup in Coffey.
And that's something that, I feel like goes unnoticed a lot in softball, at least, is, you're talking about fielding percentage. Arkansas, they have had a great year defensively.
1 error tonight, which was their 18th. But again, there's no margin for error. Bases loaded. The high strike has been the one that Cameron Ellison has given more freely today. And the count 1-1. .45 pitches for Burnham. Lace back to the screen. Coffey twice, his fly to Kramer left, also singled. Tag to right center field. On the move is Kramer. She will make the catch. The Tigers do not score. LSU is stranded 10 runners in 4 innings. We just avoided a collision. And Arkansas had a 7-run first. And Courtney Day, who doubled on a run in her last at bat, will take one down from Vallejo.
I hope I'm wrong, but
Clopton, I should say.
I feel like this game could last as long as probably 2 games by the time it's over.
You might be right.
Hopefully not.
But we have a few more twists and turns, I believe, in this game. We'll just have to figure out what that might be. Clopton, though, she's done a nice job. She wants to be a lawyer and eventually a judge. She wears number 18 because it was her mom's number that was retired in high school. Mom was a pitcher in Kansas, so you got to believe the family's here. It's a little bit easier to get in the car and get from Lawrence. I know the route quite well to get here to Fayetteville. I know the back route. I know the toll route. I know the route to Kansas City and over. I know them all.
I was about to say, we just talked about that before the game with your daughter, and I'm like, must not be too far.
Yeah, she's down the road in Topeka, so I know it well. But for Clopton, got 2 big outs last inning with the bases loaded, so she's got a clean inning of her own, and her team very much in this game. And there is another walk. So Arkansas pitchers have walked 10 and hit a batter, and LSU pitchers have walked 5 and hit a batter.
And I feel like this has been, like we said, a very odd game pitching-wise.
You could say that.
No one looks sharp.
Rio's pop-up is going to end up in the dugout. Heads up over there. Looks like everybody's okay, I hope. Don't hit Bree Ellis. Do not hit Bree Ellis. I don't want it to hit anybody, but I really don't want it to hit Bree Ellis.
Oh, my gosh, no.
Arkansas, compared to LSU, is plus 22 on homers, and they've hit 3, all of those in the first. Rios reached twice, but 0 for 1. She reached on a error in the first inning. Off the end of the bat to Coffey. Strong throw for the first out. Day advances to second.
And you've seen Arkansas's bats cool off a little bit. Now, while they still have the lead, 3-run lead. So really what's going to be important for them is for their pitching to really dig deep and figure out how are they going to stop walking batters. And, even on both sides, Courtney Day on second base, result of a walk. Like you've said, we've seen double-digit numbers and walks.
We've seen our
tonight.
share for the series in 3 or 4 innings. Carly Davison is 0 for 2.
I know, I'm like, please don't walk anyone tomorrow or the next day.
Looks like Ramsey Walker is going to run for Courtney Day. Even though we're a pitch into the sequence, better late than never. Should be a big run for Arkansas. Again, LSU's already one time brought the tying run to the plate. Davison is 0 for 2 as she takes strike 2.
You know, we've seen them load the bases quite a few times, and I wouldn't want to not score another run right here because you never know. Like you said, it takes one swing to change a game, especially with the bases loaded.
Another play for Coffee, maybe another error on LSU. It has not been a clean game from that standpoint either. Now, Walker did have to hold at second, did not try to advance to third. A little bit of indecision coming forward, and sometimes you play infield with your feet as much as you do your glove. Looks like Davison's going to be given a single, and this is Kennedy Miller. Has a couple of hits, including a 3-run homer. Does she have enough? Kendall got some TV time, and the story that was told was fascinating that Peyton's dad played some minor league baseball, I think the San Angelo Colts, and after graduation, Mom went there and actually suited up and appeared in a couple of games. So she was one of the first female players to play professional baseball.
And I was watching that, and I thought I read it wrong, but I was like, wait, no, this is right. This is right. I mean, hey, it runs in the family, though. At least you can say that.
Right. And I'm sure for Mom, you know, you're watching your daughter pitch at your alma mater, and probably your dad's as well. Right now, Mom's probably a little more on the edge of her seat because here's Edwards, and a long ball again would make this a 1-run game. And I said this a million times today, there's still nobody out.
I feel like we've been in this position a lot tonight. The best hitters up, you have runners on and no outs. That seems like the theme of the night, even for both sides. The best hitters in the lineup are coming up with 1 or no outs, and who knows? We'll see what happens right here with Tori Edwards today. She's 0 for 2. So she's definitely probably thinking like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready to go.
I think you're right. This LSU team has left 10 through 4 innings, so it feels like they've lacked that big swing. They're hoping Edwards or maybe Rudity on deck would provide one. Last inning, Burnham walked 3, but LSU did not score. It's been a homer and a single already, and that is another walk.
And I'm wondering if we'll see Coach Courtney Deifel come out right here. You know, we saw Robin Heron in the bullpen in the last inning, but it looks like she's not going to come out. She's going to let her work through this right here, and we're back in the same scenario. We have runners on first and second via the walk.
Makes me wonder if there's just a thought that we don't want to bring Robin back in at all, even though she was in the bullpen, because there have been a couple of somewhat tense moments considering, again, when you're up 7-0 in the first, you've kind of mentally checked this off as a W. And it's not the case.
Absolutely, but that goes to show you the depth of this league, of the SEC. You do not want to give up even in the first inning. I mean, look at the score now. It's a 3. They're in a, you know, LSU's in a 3-run deficit, which is totally doable. They have plenty of at-bats left, but on the other side of it for Arkansas, about, you know, Robin Heron coming back in to take over for the freshman, you kind of juggle with, do you want it? We need to get this win no matter what, but at the same time, you do not want them to have too many at-bats off of the ace.
3 of Arkansas's runs that were scored were unearned, and that is the difference in this game. Arkansas pitchers have walked 11, maybe trending towards 12. Rudity has walked twice.
And I absolutely feel like this is a game that the Razorbacks cannot afford to let slip away from them, especially being at home and, going up 7 runs in the first inning and being this close.
Games like this almost feel like more than one. More than one win, more than one loss.
No doubt.
Hardy Ellis at a sprawl across the chalk and retire Rudity. 2 runners move up, however, on the first out. That's borderline right there. She got it pretty close to the chalk. I'm not convinced it was on it, but regardless, here's Leno.
At least they have 1 out, I guess.
They do. Leno's walked twice and scored 0 for 1 officially. We talk a lot about what teams do with base runners. LSU has been good with runners in scoring position this season. In fact, entering play tonight, they were at 358 with runners in scoring position. The only teams better in this league, Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas. Well, they've had nothing but runners in scoring position in this game.
I was about to say they have had no issue getting runners on base tonight.
Avery Hodge now with a base hit could tie things up. Burnham has thrown more balls than strikes at this point. So again, with 3 runs home this inning, trying to mix things up, that did not miss by much.
And I think at this point, maybe call another timeout, go talk to the freshman, let her settle down just a little bit. It is a 1-run game, so anything could happen, but I still struggle with the fact of, do you really want to bring Robin Heron back in, but you do want to walk away with the win?
Just wondering if everything's okay, if there's another factor involved. Burnham is trying to soldier on. She's not been sharp. That one out to right. And Wyckoff will make the catch. Did the runner leave a bit early? The throw's going to go to third. Leno will tag.
I think she did leave early at second base. I'm not 100% sure, but that would definitely be something I'm going to challenge.
I believe that's Ramsey Walker in right rather than Wyckoff. And that's going to be the call. Both of us, KB, saw it that Leno left early. And I believe they're going to obviously take a look at this.
The ruling on the field during the dead ball appeal was that the runner did not tag up on time. LSU is challenging that ruling. Previous plays under further review.
The cardinal rule is never make the third out at third or home.
No.
And on a diving catch, I don't think she had to leave early, but it felt like to me in real time she did. And we'll be able to, I believe, break this down and take a look. If this is the case and this holds, this is a break for the Razorbacks and a costly one for LSU.
It is, and let's not let the play go unnoticed either, though. Ramsey Walker, I'm not sure if she was in the field last inning, but new girl gets the ball. She looks like she was pretty ready for it. Makes a great diving catch, but I still think she left early. I mean, hopefully we get a good.
At third for McKee. Arkansas was hoping just by the good fortune to get an out when they've been so difficult to come by. '70th pitch in relief for Burnham.
And I would assume Burnham right here, after giving up those 2 runs, would hope to come away with the third out right here, especially with there being a runner on third, because that's something good she can take away from this inning.
Kramer pursuing. Won't get there. Let's go back and see if we can find a better angle.
Oh, no, she was.
She was on the base.
It's a lot closer than I thought.
It was such a quick call by our umpiring crew that gave us validation for at least a few seconds. That's the pitch that I think Arkansas really wants to rein in, and maybe in part by, I think we've seen some non-competitive pitches. That was a competitive pitch, but they didn't get the call.
And I feel like this has been going all game. They're just missing on the outer corner. They're missing a little bit low, a little bit high and play there. I think if she just settles down a little bit and stays within herself and doing what she's been doing the last 11, 12 games, it'll all work out for her.
That's a menacing eye black for Mackenzie Rudedy. Nice play. She almost overran it just a bit in that sliding grab. Wyckoff is homered, part of a 1-for-3 game. Again, Arkansas, their lead is down to 1. I would say, to me, it feels like a lot of the momentum is in LSU's favor. They've scored 6 of the last 7 runs in this game. And let's give Clopton credit. She has done a nice job. She's given up only 1 run since she has entered.
You know, really this game, too, even though where we are in LSU's lineup, the end of their lineup has been the ones that have been getting on base.
Completely agree. That's a non-competitive pitch, however, and it's 3-0. Courtney Day's waiting on deck. It's the one benefit of having her batting in the 6-0 if there's runners on in front of Day. Over the inside corner, just catching a little bit of the plate for a strike. Arkansas, though, when you look at the combined numbers in the SEC between walks and hit batters, if you add them together, there's no team in the SEC that's taken more freebies than have the Hawks. And there's another one right there, second walk this inning. So while the Razorback pitchers have been way too welcoming, LSU pitchers have also fought that battle with the strike zone a bit tonight.
Absolutely. And, you know, overall, before we started this game, Arkansas coming in with a team on-base percentage around .450. That's pretty good. You're getting close to getting on base 50% of the time, so that goes to show you the patience that the Razorbacks have, whether, like you said, it's getting hit or taking a walk. But I think that's a great walk right there to have Courtney Day come up with 2 runners on. You know, she has 14 home runs. They're still in a pretty dangerous position right here.
Casey Wood is going to come on and run for Bree Ellis. Bree's probably saying, hey, I scored all the way from first on a ball in the corner earlier in the game, but this recognizes the importance of scoring this run. With Ramsey Walker running last inning, she scored on I thought maybe a borderline single. No swing there from Day, and right now that run is the difference in this game. Weird to be saying that.
It's crazy that it's only the 5th inning and it's 9-8. I keep looking at the scoreboard because it feels like, you know, this is the last inning, whatever.
Oh, no. The Clopton's back pumping strikes after that walk. She's jumped ahead of Day, or actually the count's 1-1, now 2-1. Day has reached all 3 times, although one was on an error back in the first. .14 homers and 58 runs batted in for Courtney Day. Texas baseball team is in town and getting handled by the Razorbacks. She was a longtime member of the Texas softball team. In fact, one that went to the College World Series, emerging out of a super regional here in Fayetteville. Wouldn't chase the rise. Count's gone full.
She's putting up a good at bat right here.
Cool.
And as I said, Courtney Day up, runners on first base, because we both know she can hit the ball hard and far.
KB, if you go back at all 4 homers Arkansas has hit tonight, I think 3 of the 4 have
inside.
been belt high over the plate.
Yes.
I don't think that's where Clopton wanted it. That's where Courtney Day wanted to see it land. Mile-high pop-up from Rhea. Daniel underneath it. Oh, boy. That just about snuck out of that glove. Not sure if we had the shot or not, but that ball was rattling around inside that glove. The catch was made. 3 runs on 1 hit this inning, 2 walks in the bomb. Good pitch to Davison.
And I think all the home runs have been multi-run home runs
2
tonight.
2s, 2 3s.
I mean, that's getting it done, I would have to say. But like we talked about, Arkansas will score, and then LSU will come back.
You know, it's been a funny night, and LSU's made some errors. There's been a ton of base runners. Even this is a pop-up. Watch this ball kind of rattle around that glove a little bit.
You know what else? I will say the lights at night, to me, sometimes are worse than the sun. I don't know why. It just depends on what field you're playing on. But if you catch the ball at the wrong time in the light, you actually cannot see any of it.
Well, that's good insight. Davison 1 for 3 will wave and miss. Arkansas has 12 runs on 9 hits. When you hit 4 multi-run homers, that may indeed be the case.
Absolutely, and I think, for head coach Courtney Deifel here, it's like, come on, pitchers, let's go. Like, we've put up 12 runs. You can't ask your hitters to do more than what they've done tonight.
Shutout Sunday at A&M for the second time this year. 12 runs this evening, and they're not comfortable yet either, because LSU has just been fighting all night with base runners, and quite frankly, they're probably frustrated with their 11 runners left on base. A couple of big numbers in an otherwise odd game. Baseball's about to go final. This game is in the bottom of the 5th. Baseball's done. I guess they can come from Baum Walker and come over here and watch.
Did we
softball.
start at the same time?
We started at the exact same time.
That's not something you hear often, or maybe ever.
No.
Baseball finishing before softball.
A 9-inning baseball game
My gosh.
finished before we can complete 5 innings.
Oh, they did go 9?
Went 9.
Oh, my gosh.
1 run shy of the run rule earlier. Wave and a miss from Davison, and the inning ends. Well, KB, Courtney Day had 1 big swing. Put the clamps down on this one. Daniel will lead off 9-1-2 for the Tigers.
And I'm not sure, besides the first inning, or even the first inning, if we've had a clean inning yet from either team.
No. That would be a no. That would be a not close.
It definitely feels like we have.
On base with nobody out.
I mean, it's crazy that stat you said about 2. It's her 5th at bat or 4th?
5th?
I mean, it doesn't feel like it'd be 5 at bats already, but I guess with all the walks that we have seen on both sides of the ball.
It felt like her 7th for me, and here comes Courtney Deifel, and she will make a change. And this will be interesting to hear the comments tonight or tomorrow on maybe the decisions to lead pitch.
With Arkansas, we won the SEC and the tournament in the
right.
same year, which was super, super cool. And I don't know how many times that's, ever been done before, but it was really special to do both because it is hard, especially in a tournament.
Really hard.
It's a long tournament. It's kind of like a 3-game series when you start in the top 4, though. You only have to play, I think it's 3 games. It might have changed this year.
So Heron back in. She walked 5 in an inning and a third. And she's missed on her first 2 pitches to Lassiter. And by the way, the 3 and 4 hitters to follow. Lassiter homered back in the 5th. Well, that's not close.
I am not, sometimes pitchers, they don't have it. Same thing with the hitters. Sometimes it's just not your day. And not just Robin, every pitcher today I feel like has had a really difficult time finding the strike zone.
But it almost makes you wonder if it's more than just a off night, so to speak, because now the bases are loaded and the tying run is at the plate and there's still nobody out.
Well, as we were discussing before we came back to the game and we're on break, the strike zone I feel like has gotten smaller as the years have gone on. And, that could be a result of all the walks, pitchers not getting that river pitch like they used to get, not getting that corner pitch. But tonight, without a doubt.
Oh, my goodness, what's going on here? Matt Michael came sprinting out of the dugout. Coach Torina as well.
What just happened?
all of a sudden, the temperatures got ratcheted up.
I'm assuming Coach Michael maybe have caught.
So Bergeron gets the 2 unassisted out, so that is the first out of this inning that Arkansas desperately needs. But Edwards, with 18 homers, takes one a little bit off the corner. And now the fans are all fired up.
And I understand the frustration. You see it on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's hard to tell from that angle if it clipped the corner, but I would say that's pretty close.
I would say it's out, but again, that's a mile.
They went to second base.
They went to second. Lassiter says, no. So are we going to review this one again? I thought the throw should have gone to third because there was no chance to get Daniel. But it is. Arkansas has had 4 multi-run homers. They have 12 runs, and they've been fighting for their life. Arkansas has used 3 pitchers, brought Heron back for a second time. Clopton has been the third that has been in the game for the Tigers. This is Miller, Johnson, and Kramer. Miller has 1 3-run homer and just missed another long ball. But
I mean, it's been a 3-hour game, but it's been an entertaining game at that.
3 hours, and we're not through 6 innings. Baseball started at the same time. They played 8.5, and they have been done for a while.
I mean, after the first inning, I was not expecting a game like this.
No,
I mean,
you're
7
right.
runs is.
Well, if you're LSU, you have stranded 13 runners on base in 6 innings. You've won 2 reviews that have calls overturned. You lost the clerical error and the foot race. And oh, goodness gracious.
The foot race will go down in history for me. I don't think I've ever seen that in my entire life.
I can't say I have either. Ava Carter is going to run for Kennedy Miller, who drew the walk. And let's hope Kennedy re-enters when we go to the 7th inning, or we might have another foot race. So Reagan Johnson in pursuit of her 3rd hit. She's up to 61 on the season, a couple of years of 70 or more. So here we go, Reagan. And as she entered play tonight, I mentioned that she, and I'm updating the numbers as we go, is 28 for her last 62. That's good.
Absolutely. She's almost hitting 500 in those last 62 at-bats. And, as we talked about, Reagan Johnson has really settled in and stepped up as that leadoff hitter. Everyone knows she's a great leadoff hitter. I think everyone was just waiting on her to get on base more, to put the ball in play a little bit more. And like you said, she's using small ball a lot more than what she was at the beginning of the season.
Successfully, too. By the way, Bergeron is catching. Reagan Johnson serves one to second. Quick play by Daniel retires Reagan as the pinch runner Carter goes to second. So even 12 runs into this game, Arkansas is still in that position of feeling like they need to get some insurance.
I absolutely would not be comfortable with where they are right now. I mean, we've sat here and watched this game for 3 hours, and it has been back and forth all game. Some very weird things have gone on, but nothing's out of the question at this point.
I think for Arkansas, as much as they'd like to get some insurance, it's the way Robin Heron kind of found it in those last 2 batters in the top of this inning that maybe give them a little more optimism.
And maybe it's something in the air, because every pitcher I feel like has struggled that we've seen tonight on LSU and Arkansas to find the strike zone.
No, you're right. It's been a combination of feeling like they've clipped a little bit of the parameters of the zone versus some pitches where they haven't been close enough. So it's been a little bit of both. Kramer tomahawks one to second. Another play for Daniel. Now 2 gone in the frame as the pinch runner Carter goes to third. And I would be stunned if Bree Ellis isn't issued another free pass as she comes to the plate. She had her 25th homer in the first. She has since walked 3 times and scored 3 runs. The one thing I don't know if we mentioned enough, and they put you around her. Bree does not lead the SEC in RBI. She came in 4th. She was #1 in walks over Coffee, and she's extended that lead. But it is the volume of runs that she is going to score as well that's going to be a number that I think is going to be a little bit startling for a power hitter. But when you're on base as much as she is, the runs just keep on coming, because with her 3 tonight, she has scored 60 runs in 47 games.
That's incredible for Bree Ellis. I mean, I know she probably gets very frustrated, especially being walked, but as a hitter, you have to sit back and think, I must be pretty good. If they're just going to walk me every time.
It's the ultimate sign of respect. Now, if they put something on where she would try and get in a rundown between first and second, that would cap the night to try and allow Carter to score. McDowell will ground one into the hole. Hodge there, one Richmond, Texas native, taking care of the other. Nice play to end the inning, and Arkansas's turn to strand a runner at third base. We go to the 7th. You said it couldn't be done.
Hey guys, this is unacceptable, because you know that equals to LSU's runners they have left on base.
Well, I think that is accurate. 14 left on base, so I've been one off since the 3rd. Leno doubled in a couple of runs in the 5th to make this a 1-run game. Heron started and now trying to finish in what has not been her sharpest game by any stretch, but she got the fly out from Edwards, she got the comebacker from Rudity, and she got the beneficiary of the 2 unassisted out when Bergeron was called out because she didn't re-enter, I guess, in the lineup car. So
I think I'm going to go back and watch that like 100 times. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It was close. Courtney Deifel last Friday got career win number 350 at Arkansas. I would say if she gets this one tonight, there will not have been many like it before.
I don't know if anyone's ever had a game like this one before.
2-2 the count to Leno, who's been on base 3 times. Fouled back. You drove something like 7 hours to be here today. Your parents drove longer than that, and you guys, the Sideses, are still going strong.
We are. My mom's still sitting up there watching the game on her phone. I absolutely got a little tired, but she bought me a pretzel, so everything's fine.
All right. Little fuel.
Little Coke. Everything's good to go. A nice cold Coke.
I think Heron would love to see the leadoff hitter retired for the first time in a long, long time. And McDowell is there. She's got it. That is a comet, an oddity in this game. McDowell was trying to get to that screen, and our third base umpire was trying to do the same. Make sure you don't see that ball graze the screen. And maybe there was a little help where the Razorbacks pulling that screen back.
I think they were, and I mean, that takes tremendous focus by Ella McDowell right there. I mean, I thought it was going to be closer than what it was.
What a great shot, though, to see everybody pulling that screen back to give her a few extra inches as Hodge will bat. Hodge just made a couple of nice plays at short in the hole this evening.
And for her size, she has a cannon on her arm.
Yes, she does. Robin was not Robin-like in the first couple of innings. She came back in, and the first batter she faced, it was more of the same, and I feel like maybe she's flipped that switch, but now LSU in a position where they need one more base runner, and they will bring the tying run to the plate. And if it's Daniel who can get on, and she's been on base 3 times today, it would turn the lineup over for Coffey and then Lassiter. So the Tigers have out-hit Arkansas 11-9, but trailed 12-9. Okay, a pretty good pitch, maybe a little bit down.
Like we've talked about all game long, the zone seems to be extremely, extremely tight. And the difference for Arkansas in this game is the home runs.
No doubt. 4 home runs for Arkansas, a pair of 2-run homers, a pair of 3-run homers, and LSU has left 14 runners on base. Daniel had the bunt single where her bat hit it twice, and it wasn't reviewable after we reviewed it. That was another oddity that we forgot to recap.
I know, and this game has been going on for so long. I was starting to second guess myself, but you absolutely cannot hit the ball twice, but I wonder why it's not a reviewable play.
Seems like with all the technology it should be, right?
Yes, I agree.
2-1 the count. This big
Thing, I will say that.
It was something, and guess what? We'll be back for Game 2 tomorrow for a 6 o'clock start Central Time. So for KB Sides and our entire crew hanging with us tonight, I'm Brett Dolan, thanking you for tuning in. Once again, our final score, Arkansas takes down LSU 12-9. So long, good night from Bogle Park in Northwest Arkansas.